Good evening, everyone. Theron Jacobson here with the City of Verona. It is May 19th. This is progress meeting number 5 for the City of Verona East Side Interceptor and MMSD Pump Station 17 Force Main Project. I'm going to maximize the presentation here. The meeting logistics will be very similar to any of the past meetings. We'll take all questions at the end, and based on the participant count, we'll try and limit the questions. But based on the attendance, we should have plenty of time for questions at the end if anyone has any. The agenda, instructions, that's the meeting logistics I just went over. The presenters will be myself and then Aaron McFarland with the City of Verona. The intent of the meeting, the team, construction schedule updates, updates for the Badger Mill Creek Restoration Project, communication, websites, and questions at the end. The presenters, myself, Theron Jacobson, City of Verona Public Works Director, and then Aaron McFarland, the City of Verona construction engineer and the lead on the project. And also in the background is Eric Jellin from Madison Met. The intent of the meeting is to provide the upcoming construction schedule and provide updates for construction related items, provide updates for the Badger Mill Creek Restoration Design Project. And the project team is one of the same: City of Verona and Madison Metropolitan Sewerage Districts, Dane County Parks, Land and Water Resources Department. Short Elliott Hendrickson was the design engineer. Minger Construction Companies out of Jordan, Minnesota is the prime contractor. And the feet on the ground for construction inspection is City of Verona staff and MMSD staff. So Aaron, why don't you take it from here and go over the 3-week look ahead and then pull up your figures that you've been using that are very helpful. You should be able to share your screen, and I will stop sharing mine right here. So you should be able to take it over.
Okay, so for the 3-week look ahead schedule, Minger, you'll have to make me a host, Aaron.
Okay.
So Minger is continuing sewer placement, would be east of the Lincoln Street path. And I'll get my screen up here. Okay, so here's Lincoln Street path. So they're continuing interceptor sewer placement, and then they'll fall back and continue force main placement in the next couple of weeks. And then as that's completed, their outlook, they're just going to keep working east towards the end of the project. Also in their 3-week look ahead, we'll go to Bruce Street to South Main Street. So they are in the process of seeding and placing mulch and erosion mat from Bruce Street to South Main Street. Plan to have that done by next week and get that all restored. Bruce Street is open to traffic now. Everyone should see that. No further detours are planned for that. So then the central segment of the project, so seed restoration is also going to occur from South Main Street, County M, through the horseshoe area. And that's also planned to take place here in the next couple weeks. In this segment, work has been completed on Melody Circle and restored in the yards. There will be future work for local connections and tie-ins along there. I have a note here, the Lincoln Street path that was closed is now open. So that'll be open in a temporary condition. So there'll be some gravel down. It's not going to be paved yet. It will be closed again in the next few months, one time for another connection north of the creek, and then for the final asphalt paving. And then I have for future in the next month or so, Minger is potentially planning to start the Dane County and then our stream bank restoration with grading and path paving following those operations. So And the only other thing is the Ice Age Trail detour is still in place, and that will continue to the end of the project. So I think that's all I have. I will make you the host again, Theron. Should be the host, I believe.
Yep, I am. Thank you, Aaron, for the update. So Aaron briefed the 3-week look-ahead schedule and used the figures that he had highlighted for each segment. So I will skip through these and use those as reference. Aaron also mentioned the traffic closures already. The only road closure that'll occur in the future is on Arbavita Place, and that'll be strictly a local issue for a few residents down there when there's pipe installation and then the paving operations are occurring, but we will work on notifications with them independently. Aaron mentioned the Ice Age Trail and then the Lincoln Street pedestrian bridge already. These are more cliff notes to keep in the presentations for individuals to reference that as needed. The Badger Mill Creek restoration, we are awaiting permit approvals from the DNR on that, and then we will commence construction, assuming everything gets approved and the council approves the work to be completed. We anticipate that all occurring in June and then construction commencing in July. The plans have not changed since they've been uploaded to the website or submitted to the DNR, and there wasn't any comments from the DNR, so the permit basically is in the notification status right now with more information to come in June. The website is up on the Public Works page. The link is the same as previously. That went live on April 1 and notifications were done to the Friends of Badger Mill Creek. If anyone has an issue finding that, please just let me know and I can send you a link to that. Otherwise, it is within this presentation also. The background here is just some plan sheets from the permit plans, identifying a few of the features, the rock deflectors, and the boulder clusters within the stream bank. All this was coordinated with the DNR and also Trout Unlimited. This cross sections here and then the detail sheets. These are one of the same slides as before. So ultimately, we're just going to be shaving the stream bank back, flattening out that slope and then restoring it. So the dashed line is the existing ground as it stands today. And then the solid line would be the proposed line, the proposed grade when work is completed. And then over to the right is a detail of the rock deflector. The next meeting will be on June 16th, 2021 at 5 o'clock. Same link. And the website viewings are here. I just keep these up here for reference for individuals. And you can see the interceptor is in the middle of the screen, and then the Badger Mill Creek is the project link on the bottom. And Dane County's website for their project improvements are also linked through our interceptor page, but also on the link is to their website information on Dane County's servers. And project contacts, and now we can take any questions. So individuals in the audience, please just raise your hand and then I will unmute you. Any questions from anyone in the audience? Kate Cronin.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Just wanted to thank you again for doing these presentations. This was a request by neighbors to keep us all updated, and I have really appreciated seeing the progress. I do have a question about the seating. Do we have any idea, like ballpark, how long it will take for the areas that are going to be reseeded to sort of look normal again?
I can answer that, Kate, here. That's going to vary. There's a variety of seed within each of the mixes. And then there's also different locations where like native seed is being used and then turf seeds being used. So each of those are going to have different growth rates. And it's also going to depend on what Mother Nature is doing out there with moisture. Rain that we've gotten this week is very helpful. But then how the rest of the season progresses. Is it going to be too hot? Is it going to be status quo or a good growing temperature, and how much rain? So I think it's going to vary based on each segment, and you also have different soil conditions for each. But obviously we want this to get as green as quickly as possible. And we aren't using any fertilizer down here, just to be a little bit environmentally sensitive. So that's also going to not provide that additional boost to kind of kick that seed into high gear to grow. So hopefully that answers your question somewhat. I know I'm not giving you like it's going to be green in 2 weeks. I don't want to do that, but I'm giving you kind of what we think is going to happen out there.
Sure.
Does that work?
Yeah, just one follow-up question. Refresh my memory. There will be some trees that will be planted again. Is that
Yes.
true? And if so, when will that happen?
So Dave Walker, our Parks Director, and I have been coordinating that. And based on the presentation that we gave in January, we want the project to get completed and restored. And then once that occurs, Dave is going to work on placement and locations of certain species on where they will get planted. And then most of the hardwoods, based on recommendations from Dave and what nurseries will provide, those are a spring plant.
Okay.
So ultimately it'll be 2022. If there are some species that could be planted this fall, Dave is going to look at a certain quantity that we may be able to get in this fall, but location and where those would go is to be determined ultimately. So yes and no is my answer to that question, if that helps. There
Okay.
will be some trees planted on the far east end of the project on private property, but those were all part of negotiations from easement acquisitions.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Sibley.
Can you hear me?
We got you now.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, unmuting took a little bit longer than I expected. When we did the walk through the site with Lars, the naturalist from Madison, he indicated that in addition to planting seeds, there is going to have to be quite a bit of invasives management if whatever prairie mix is going to take and achieve what the goal is. He also suggested that it's probably not something that Madison or Verona can do by themselves. So he promoted the idea of volunteer groups like Friends. So is there any plan to engage with Friends groups or the community at large to try to work on an invasive removal plan, or I don't even know what's required to help the seed achieve what the final goal is, but is there some sort of plan in place to try to help get the site back to where it needs to be through volunteers?
I mean, ultimately we'll utilize the resources that'll definitely help us. I mean, that'll end up being a parks task to manage and work with the Ice Age Trail on, because their primary corridor will run right through here. So we'll timing what needs to get done. None of that has been figured out at this point, but what we ultimately need to do and getting guidance from others, we can definitely formulate and communicate and utilize volunteers when needed. So we'll definitely take you up on that, Sam.
Okay. No, I mean, we have there, but can you still hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, good. There are a lot of us who are definitely willing to back up our early interest in the project with helping with the restoration, but we just have to make sure that the coordination happens early enough that it's effective and that invasives don't take over. And I know that Dave with Ice Age Trail had mentioned that it's going to be a lot more than his organization can handle on its own. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. And I
All right.
believe Dave Walker was at that meeting too. I was unavailable, but Walker was at that meeting too that you just referenced.
Oh, yep. Yeah, he definitely was through that
Yep.
walkthrough. So, all right. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Are there any other questions from anyone? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? Sam, you don't have your hand up again. Okay, thank you. All right, 3rd time's a charm. All right, thank you everyone for attending tonight's meeting. I will get this on the city's YouTube site probably next week. Sometime that'll get uploaded, but we will provide an update in June again. Thank you, and everyone have a good night.